Okay, I don't have anything on Adobe, so I'm gonna bail out of Adobe.
Mr. Hicks is joining us now, Judge.
Good evening, Bob. Are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good.
I'm in a hearing.
This time the court calls cases number 619-328, State of Texas versus Patricia Amaya, and 655-024, State versus Dean Patterson. Ms. Amaya is accompanied by Mr. Bob Hicks, her attorney, and Mr. Patterson is accompanied by David Cuellar, defense attorney. Is everybody ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes,
We're ready, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Amaya and Mr. Patterson, would you please raise your right hand? You solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Mr. Patterson.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Put your hand down. Ms. Amaya.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Before we proceed, I need to inform both of you that you each individually have rights and protections afforded by the Constitution and statutes. First of all, you have the right to remain silent. That means you individually cannot be compelled to make any kind of statement, to answer any questions, or to submit written paperwork that has your signature, especially papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. You understand you have the right to remain silent, Ms. Amaya?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor.
You each have the right to a jury trial. That means that in your own case, each of you and your attorney with the state could select 6 people from a pool of disinterested citizens who would hear all the evidence, testimony, review whatever, and decide whether you are not guilty or whether you have been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. That's the right to a jury trial. You understand you have that right, Mr. Patterson?
I do.
Ms. Amaya.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, each of you, if you decided to go to trial, individually, each would have the right to cross-examine witnesses, confront witnesses. What that means is, if you go to trial, the state would have to try and prove up their case by submitting evidence, and that would be done through witnesses' testimony. But you each individually would have the right to cross-examine, question, or challenge any witness who would testify. That's called the right of confrontation. You understand you have that right, Ms. Amaya?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson.
Yes, Your Honor.
In addition, when all is said and done and this is over, you each would have the right to appeal. That is done by either you individually, your attorney, or the two of you together, demanding in a proper manner that a higher court review the official record and evidence in this case, in your individual case, for whatever legal challenge you wanted to make. You'd have to be careful with that because it has specific requirements. One of them being time limitations. Then you have issues of form and substance in the paperwork that you'd have to submit. But essentially, that is what's called the right of appeal. You understand you have that right, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Amaya.
Yes, Your Honor.
Finally, you also have the right to demand, each of you individually and the state in each of your cases has the right to demand that these proceedings be held in an open public forum. Because of the COVID pandemic, we've not been doing that. Instead, what we've been doing is handling or conducting these proceedings by internet, and it's called video conferencing. But you have the right to demand that it be done in the open public courtroom. Do you understand you have that right, Ms. Amaya?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, each of you has reviewed with your own attorney all the documents that are part of this proceeding and that have been signed by you. Did you, in fact, sign documents with the assistance and counsel of your individual attorneys, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, I did.
Ms. Amaya?
Yes, sir.
Now, among those documents, the first one is the one that I mentioned a while ago. The document that says, it identifies you and says that you have personally consented to conduct this proceeding by computer or the procedure that we're doing right now. Do you understand that, Ms. Amaya
Yes, Your Honor.
and Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, attorneys, Mr. Hicks and Mr. Cuellar, did you each individually counsel and assist your client in reviewing and signing the documents in this proceeding? Mr. Hicks,
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Mr. Cuellar,
Yes, Your Honor.
did each of you attorneys individually sign an affirmation in the respective case saying that you affirm that the state has complied with Article 39.14 Texas Code of Criminal Procedure in reference to discovery? Mr. Cuellar,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hicks.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, back to you, Ms. Amaya, Mr. Patterson. Each of you has signed a document that's titled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. Do you recall the document I'm referring to, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Amaya,
Yes, Your Honor.
do you know and understand that that document reviewed in writing all the rights and protections that you have that I have discussed with you earlier, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Amaya.
Yes, Your Honor.
That same document has, among other things, 14 numbered areas or sections in which it covers different rights and protections and information that is critical, including the fact that whatever deal you've made with the state, it is not binding on me as the judge. As a judge, I have the authority and responsibility to approve or reject your plea bargain agreement. In addition, I have the right and authority to punish you in accordance with any agreement you make or punish you within the range of punishment for the offense that you're pleading on. And if I give you a heavier punishment than you agreed to, albeit I'm within the proper range, or if I reject your plea bargain outright in either of the two cases, the law would allow you to start all over again. And nothing that you've said or anything that you've signed would be used against you. Is that clear, Ms. Amaya?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor.
In that document, it reminds you of the rights and protections that you have been told about verbally, but that in writing, it tells you and reminds you of those rights that you're giving up. Did you understand that when you signed the document, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Amaya?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, there's also another document that's very important. Actually, I guess they all are, but the document I'm referring to now is one that's titled Trial Court's Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. In there, I certify to you that because you are participating in a plea bargain agreement, you will not have a right of appeal. Did you understand that, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Amaya?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do either one of you have any questions concerning the documents that you have signed for this proceeding? Ms. Amaya?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Amaya, you were originally charged with DWI. State, talk to me about what, if any, motions the state has.
Yes, Judge. On this case, we are moving to add count 2, obstruction, and then proceed solely on count 2.
Mr. Hicks, you have any objection?
No, Your Honor, that is not, there are no, there are no objections from defense as to that point.
And in addition, do you waive the 10-day notice on amendment?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
The court notes that there is no objection and you waive the 10-day notice. To the charge of obstruction, well, let's complete this a little further. Mr. Patterson, what are you charged with, sir?
I'm charged with driving while intoxicated.
All right. State, you have a motion on Mr. Patterson.
Yes, Judge. On Mr. Patterson, it is the same. It's to add count 2 obstruction and then proceed solely on count 2.
Defense, any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
And do you waive the 10-day notice on amendment?
We do, Your Honor.
The court grants the motion, and both of you, Ms. Amaya and Mr. Patterson, are now charged officially with obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway. You're no longer charged with DWI. Your attorneys have done a good job for you in getting that done, or that agreement. Now, to the charge of obstruction of a passageway, highway, and waterway, what is going to be your plea, Mr. Patterson?
No contest.
Ms. Amaya,
No contest?
I will inform both of you that a no contest plea in this court is considered a guilty plea and is sufficient for me to convict you of the charge of obstruction. Now, you need to understand a couple of things. Did each of you sign an application for probation, specifically deferred adjudication probation? Mr. Patterson,
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Amaya,
Yes, Your Honor.
did each of you know and understand exactly what you're saying to me under oath when you signed the application for deferred adjudication probation? Ms. Amaya?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, there is an error on her application. I had checked the box that said she had never been convicted of a felony. She was once convicted of a possession charge.
All right. We will note that. And Patricia, please have the clerks make that change on the documents.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, deferred adjudication probation is a very beneficial and special kind of probation. The essence of it is, first of all, that whatever jail sentence you receive, at least at the beginning, it'll be suspended and deferred. So I need you to know and understand that that can change, because the requirement on deferred adjudication is, first of all, I do not find you guilty. And then secondly, it is critical that you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision. If you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, your case will be dismissed and you will never have been convicted of this charge. If you fail to live up to the conditions or refuse to live up to the conditions, in either case, the state may ask me to give you official notice of a hearing, bring you in for a hearing. And if, in my opinion, the evidence and information is sufficient, then I will find you guilty, issue a final conviction that follows you the rest of your life. And I will have access, or you will be looking at 100% of the range of punishment, which in this case is a fine from $0 all the way to $2,000, and jail from 0 days to 180 days in jail. Is that clear, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Ms. Amaya?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, you have each pled no contest. I find that each of you individually, in your case, there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, each of you. But I do not find you guilty because I am accepting and honoring the agreement that your attorneys have had or obtained for you. State, tell me about Ms. Amaya as far as punishment.
Judge, the agreement here is a $500 probated fine plus court costs, 12 months deferred, 48 community service hours, DWI education, and regular UAs. And I believe there's an agreement in regards to the community service hours that they can be served. And Mr. Hicks, I'm not exactly sure what the facility is, but it's, I believe, at a drug treatment facility.
She works as a peer counselor or volunteer services as a peer counselor at Alpha Home. And we were hoping that the court, and what we had agreed with was that the court would give her credit for the time she spends in counseling in lieu of any other community service.
All right. What kind of income do you have at Alpha Home, ma'am?
I'm the president of our Alpha Home Alumni Association. And last year I was the secretary and the treasurer. So I don't get paid. I just volunteer to do events and meetings regularly. And I'm the liaison between our alumni group and Alpha Home. So we have meetings, and I volunteer in the babysitting room so the women can partake in meetings, and I just organize and keep up with our Facebook page and having to deal with events. We're having beauty shop night. We had a reunion once things opened up because of COVID, and I sponsored ladies, and that's basically what I'm doing right now. I'm going to school. My Social Security disability started last week. So I'm going to A&M San Antonio. I'm a junior. I'm finishing my criminology degree in the spring of 2021.
But I'm not hearing anything about income. Do you get an income out of that?
No.
Sure,
I
okay.
love to help Alpha Home. Alpha Home helped me so much.
Okay. So how are you supported? Who supports you?
I just started my disability last week. I got help reinstated with my disability.
All right. I approve the agreement. In essence, you're granted 12 months deferred adjudication. You're fined $500, of which $500 is probated, meaning as long as you do everything you're supposed to, you won't have to pay the $500 fine. Court costs, you will perform 60 hours of community service, which I acknowledge is heavier than what you agreed to. You will do the DWI education program. You'll submit regular UAs for analysis. The community service restitution hours you can accomplish at the Alpha Home, but I want you to document those for the probation office. I will waive the supervisory fees. Are there any questions, Ms. Amaya?
No, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Judge, and
Any
everybody else.
questions, Mr. Hicks?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
State, anything?
Nothing further from the state judge.
I do need to point out that since I have raised the community service hours to 60, technically I have raised or provided a heavier fine or punishment than you agreed to, and under the law, you're allowed to start all over again if you so choose. What is your choice?
We prefer to accept the judgment of the court.
All right. Then it shall be so. Ms. Amaya and Mr. Patterson, you'll both have to stick around. Don't leave. You have to participate in the hearing. There'll be a Ms. Theus will explain to you how to get going on the probation system. Do not leave until you've met with her. Probation department will wind up reading to you every one of the conditions that you will be under. You will sign those conditions, and you will have a copy in your hands. In addition, you have 7 days to appear in the offices of County Court of Law number 5 for the purpose of having your thumbprint placed on the official documents in accordance with law. Is that clear, Ms. Amaya?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson?
Yes, it is. Can I get that done today? Can I come in today and
You can if you so choose. To the
Okay.
charge of obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway. Mr. Patterson, how do you plead officially?
No contest.
All right, you having pled no contest earlier, I find that there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not. I am also granting you deferred adjudication. State, recite on the record what the punishment is agreed to.
Judge, in this case, it is a $500 fine plus court costs, 12 months deferred, 48 community service hours, DWI education, the victim impact panel live, the TAP evaluation, and ignition interlock for 1/2 the term.
All right. Is that the agreement, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, sir, it is.
You are fined $500 plus court costs. You are granted 12 months deferred adjudication. You will perform 48 hours community service restitution. You will complete the DWI education program, a TAP evaluation, and the recommendations. You'll have ignition interlock installed in your vehicle for 1/2 the term of the probation. Now, did I miss anything, Ms. Pollard?
No, Judge.
Okay,
The supervisory fee, Judge?
that's what I'm about to do. Mr. Patterson, how do you support yourself?
I'm a commercial laundry technician. I've been doing that for a little over 16 years.
And what do you earn on a regular basis?
Last year, my pay was lower, but I was up close to $50,000 before that a year.
How much?
I was making close to $50,000 a year before last year, but last year I missed a lot of days just because we lost a lot of customers with the pandemic.
All right.
Things are picking back up though.
Do you have children that you support?
My children are adults now. I've completed my child support.
Okay. Mr. Patterson, I'm not going to accept a $500 fine in your case. You make a lot more money than a lot of people that get fined even more than 500. I'm going to make your fine $850, which is a greater punishment than you agreed to and would allow you, if you so choose, to start all over again. You will do the 48 hours community service restitution. I'll leave that the way it is. The ignition interlock will be for 6 months as a minimum, so long as you live up to the condition. Neither one of you can have for the entire period of the deferred adjudication. Neither one of you can have any alcohol whatsoever or any illegal drugs, which goes without saying, but it's still under the law. Now, because I've raised your fine, Mr. Patterson, do you want to start all over again?
No, sir, I'll accept your judgment.
All right, sir. I wish you well. Ms. Amaya, both of you stick around. You too will, Mr. Patterson, you'll both have to come in within 1 week to have your thumbprint affixed on the documents as required by law.
Judge, the supervisory fee for Mr. Patterson?
Mr. Patterson, your supervisory fee will be $47 a month.
Did you say 47 a month?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. I didn't hear.
That's a supervisory fee with the probation department. Questions, Mr. Patterson, any?
The main question was, where do I need to be to come in and do the thumbprint today?
It'll be at the offices of County Court of Law number 5. They are in the hallway behind the main courtroom. County Court 5 is on the 4th floor of the Justice Center.
Okay.
Questions, Mr. Cuellar?
No, Your Honor, not at this time.
State,